news comes first. This is ABC-7 Extra.
Welcome to ABC-7 Extra. Good evening, I'm Stephanie Valle. For the next half hour, we are talking about the Democratic primary election. It's your voice, your vote. We are focusing on 2 open races in the Democratic primary, and half a dozen candidates total are vying for the offices. And the outcome in the primary will determine the overall winner of the office, since there is no Republican challenger. The races are for county attorney as well as state representative for District 77. Now, we're sitting down with the candidates for county attorney in the second half of the show. But first, I am joined by the 4 Democrats running to become the state representative for District 77. That is the seat currently held by Representative Lina Ortega. She's been in office for 4 terms after being elected in 2016. And for those who don't know, District 77 encompasses a large swath of the city of El Paso. It covers parts of West El Paso from North Mesa and Wrestler, southeast and over the mountain to Alabama and Hercules and northeast El Paso, down to the border with Mexico, and continues south of I-10 through south central El Paso and the lower valley until Loop 375. You can see the district outlined in red there on the map. Joining me in studio in alphabetical order are the Democratic candidates for State Rep District 77, former City Rep Alexandra Anello, former State Rep Norma Chavez, former County Commissioner Vince Perez, and Insurance Agent Homer Ressa. Thank you all for being here. Now, because of the time constraints, I'm going to ask you to keep your answers to 30 seconds, and we will ask the first question in the alphabetical order, and then we'll rotate. So this question is for all of you. If you're elected, what is your top priority as a state representative as it pertains to the city of El Paso? Ms. Anello, we'll start with you, then Ms. Chavez, then Mr. Perez, then Mr. Ressa.
Thank you, Stephanie. My top 3 priorities are education, economic development, and mental health. This last legislative session, we were able to get $115 million for a new psych center. I went to the state and I fought for that. It's going to be extremely important that we see that and the new cancer center through, making sure that we are building a strong workforce, working with the state for economic development, and really working on our education. We saw that was a big issue this year at the state legislature, and protecting our public schools is extremely important.
All right, Ms. Chavez?
Thank you, Stephanie. First of all, I'd like to state that taxes is the biggest issue for El Paso. So I'd like to go as a taxpayer watchdog. Of course, we have the highest certificates of obligation, and we do need certificates of obligation reform. That's a big issue. I'm a caregiver for my mother and my father, and I understand elder care. We need a lot of reform in elder care as well as veterans. We need public access to, good quality access to healthcare services for our elderly, for the disabled, and also for veterans. Those are my 3 major top priorities, as well as public safety and transportation and mobility. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Perez?
Sure. When we look at 8th graders here in El Paso, only 18% of 8th graders are going on to complete a college degree within 10 years. It's the second worst stat in the state of Texas. If our community is going to succeed, we need to improve that statistic. Also, when it comes to economic development, everybody has a child or a grandchild who has left El Paso because there are no opportunities here. It's one reason that I came back to our community to improve and to create more job opportunities right here in El Paso. Also, healthcare is vital. We have a shortage of doctors and a shortage of specialists. It's something that we need to address here in the borderland if our community is going to thrive.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ressa?
Yes, the District 77 has 25% living in poverty and 38% making $25,000 or less. So my priorities are going to be, first of all, in education. Everything starts with your education. So I want every child, no matter what their background is, to have a good quality education. Secondly, I want to bring jobs to this district, and because we want to have jobs so that people can succeed. And so by doing that, in having that, I want to eliminate any barriers that would keep an entrepreneur or a small business from succeeding. And then my third one is, of course, transportation, because the economy, the business thrives on a strong transportation network, and that's what I would concentrate on.
All right, thank you all. Republican Governor Greg Abbott repeatedly advocated for school choice during the last legislative session and spent most of the session asking for the passage of a bill that would fund vouchers for parents to use public tax money to pay for private or parochial schools. Now, it failed in numerous special sessions, and Governor Abbott is now campaigning against GOP members of the House who didn't help pass the school choice bill. So what is your approach to taxpayer-funded education for Texas kids? Let's start with you, Ms. Chavez, then Mr. Perez, Ms. Ressa, and Ms. Anello.
Thank you so much. Well, I just want to make this statement very clear that I oppose vouchers in any shape or form that takes away money from public schools. And not everybody here on this group opposes vouchers. I think that we need to find additional revenue funds for public education because we cannot put the brunt of property taxpayers to be paying for public education. So we need to be looking for additional revenue streams to fund public education. But public vouchers is a no for me, absolutely.
Mr. Perez?
Vouchers are a bad deal for El Paso. They would take away money from the public schools, but also there isn't the private school infrastructure here in El Paso that there are in other parts of Texas. When we look at the number of students that are enrolled in public schools, 52% of them are Latino and Hispanic children. Our schools are already very segregated. And so when we talk about vouchers, it's just going to be a mechanism where the choice is not going to be offered for Hispanic students along the border, and it's only going to benefit non-Hispanic students in the rest of the state. So I strongly oppose vouchers. It's a bad deal. We need to invest in traditional public schools.
Mr. Ressa?
Yes. I think everybody is agreeing on the fact that we don't need the vouchers for private schools. As it is, our public schools right now are way underfunded. So to take away any funds from their public schools to fund some private schools would really, really destroy our public education. I think we need to have a strong foundation of public schools, and it comes by funding the public schools and not the vouchers. So I'm very much opposed to the vouchers at all.
Ms. Anello?
Thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's an understanding of why I'm being attacked by a pro-charter, pro-voucher PAC in this election. I am the only candidate up here endorsed by all of the teachers unions, the parent PAC. I think vouchers are terrible for this community as well as charter schools. These schools are not required to teach ESL. They are not required to teach students with disabilities. It is extremely important that we increase the allotment for public schools in this community and across the state. This was the first year that Texas had a surplus, and teachers were the only employees who did not get a raise. We need an elected official who's going to stand with our parents, our teachers, and our school boards.
And I wanted to bring up a point that you just touched on. This is for Mr. Perez and Ms. Chavez. Over the last few days, residents living in District 77 received the mailer that we're about to show you. The group paying for the flyer was endorsing not just one, but two candidates for this race, as well as targeting one other candidate as the wrong choice. It states we have two choices for State House. It lists Vince Perez and Norma Chavez. Now, according to this group, Alexandra Anello is the wrong choice. Now, the political ad is paid for by Legacy 44 PAC. On its website, the group simply states it is, quote, inspired by the Obama legacy. We support Texas Dems who will ensure all kids, regardless of zip code, income, or ability, can access a quality public education. Now, according to TransparencyUSA.org, $200,000 of this $250,000 that Legacy 44 PAC has received this term are from billionaire Jim Walton of the Walton family, which founded Walmart. He also started a fund to support charter schools. Now, the other contributors to Legacy 44 PAC are education-based PACs that endorse public school choice. Now, being as you are being backed by a PAC funded by school choice advocates, do you support school choice? Mr. Perez and then Ms. Chavez, please.
Sure. It's important to be clear. I mean, there needs to be also campaign finance reform. These outside groups get involved. They do not contact the candidates to let them know that they're getting involved. So I'm not familiar with the group at all. During each forum that we've had, I've been absolutely clear. Traditional public school is the way to go. We have talked about the education issues throughout the course of this campaign, and so I want to say in no uncertain terms, we are adamantly in support of public school. I am adamantly opposed to vouchers, and when it comes to charters, you know, my opponents have said things like, well, you know, charters are immoral. Well, whether we like it or not, there are 10,000 students here in El Paso that attend charter schools. We have an obligation to represent them and ensure that those schools are also being held accountable, and that's what I intend to do as state representative.
Ms. Chavez?
I too am not familiar with the Political Action Committee. I saw the mailer and was surprised at its content as well. I don't understand Mr. Perez's stand on saying that he's against vouchers when he gets a paycheck from Creed, which is absolutely pro-voucher. And so I think it's contradictory, and I think he should explain to us how that's a bigger deal to me because it's local than this Political Action Committee. School choice, I do think that we need to absolutely support publicly fund public schools to the level that we are graduating our high school students at a higher level. Our kids are not getting the quality of education that they need because they are not funded. Teachers are not having the respect in the classroom. They also need to be paid what they deserve, and we did not see a raise for them in this last session, and I intend to be an advocate for public education. But I do think that Mr. Perez needs to explain the fact that he gets a paycheck from Creed, and how he says that he's against vouchers.
Right, Ms. Chavez, thank you. And Mr. Perez, I'll let you respond.
Ms. Chavez has a history of spreading misinformation and mistruths. She knows full well that Creed has absolutely nothing to do with vouchers. Creed has not taken a stance on vouchers, is not supportive of vouchers. So I'm sorry, Norma, this is one reason why voters simply just don't trust you. When we talk about you still won't accept the results of the election, which is something that came out in the news today. I actually thought you had come around and said you were older and wiser, but you have not changed. It's not truthful. That's why voters don't trust Ms. Chavez. Okay, Ms. Chavez, I'll let you respond to that.
We can go on to the next question.
Okay.
He knows that he gets paid by vouchers, and he knows that he's lost an election for the Canutillo School District.
All right, thank you, Ms. Chavez. All right, you're watching ABC-7 Extra. We're back with the questions for the candidates for state representative, and later on we'll talk with the candidates for county attorney.
The hot, crispy filet of fish with soft steamed buns, tender, flaky fish, melty cheese, and tangy tartar sauce. You either love it or you haven't tried it yet.
Hook 2 filet of fish on the line for $7. And don't let them get away. It's a deal you'll want to keep.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Around the world, Children International and friends like you are giving girls and boys in poverty a chance to thrive, to be healthy, to succeed in school, to dream big and achieve great things.
You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Learn more about how Children International is giving children and families tools they need to build brighter futures and help end poverty for good.
Every day the world gets darker and farther away.
You're clinically blind.
You're a police officer? You need a partner.
I do need a second pair of eyes.
Up and to the left.
You could have gotten yourself killed.
I want to stay in the field. My tools, my tech.
You can't go in alone.
I'm not alone. I've got you.
Sight unseen.
Series premiere April 3rd on the El Paso Las Cruces CW.
Welcome back to ABC-7 Extra.
I'm Colin Allred. And in Texas, we believe in freedom, keeping government out of our personal lives. But our state's extreme abortion ban lets politicians like Ted Cruz decide what care women get, not their doctors. My wife and I have been blessed with 2 beautiful baby boys. It's outrageous that she could have been denied treatment in an emergency. As your senator, I'll keep fighting to protect women's access to abortion. I'm Colin Allred, and I approve this message because it's time to bring freedom back to Texas.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Around the world, Children International and friends like you are giving girls and boys in poverty a chance to thrive, to be healthy, to succeed in school, to dream big and achieve great things.
You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Learn more about how Children International is giving children and families tools they need to build brighter futures and help end poverty for good.
News doesn't stop on weekends, and at ABC-7 neither do we. Start your day with Good Morning El Paso Weekend, the area's only weekend morning newscast at 6 and 8 a.m. Accurate, reliable storm track weather to plan your outdoor activities and keep your family safe. Then get complete coverage of breaking news in the evenings. Plus, an in-depth discussion of major stories that affect you every Sunday night at 10:35 on ABC-7 Extra. ABC-7, where news comes first, 7 days a week.
Welcome back to ABC-7 Extra. Happy Sunday evening, El Paso, Las Cruces, and Ciudad Juarez. I'm Paul Cicala. Now it's time to focus on the El Paso County Attorney's race. As described on the El Paso County webpage, the county attorney represents the county, its officials, and employees in a number of legal matters. The county attorney's office also prosecutes a variety of cases affecting families and children, such as juvenile crime, child and elder abuse, mental health, and family violence. The office practice also includes civil and criminal litigation, collections, and general counsel work. The current county attorney, Joanne Bernal, is not seeking re-election. The two Democrat candidates for El Paso County Attorney are Cristina Sanchez and Sergio A. Saldivar. Cristina Sanchez is currently an assistant county attorney, while Sergio A. Saldivar is a lawyer in the private practice. Unfortunately, the candidate Sergio Saldivar was not able to make it to our show because of a commitment to his law practice. However, he did provide us this statement. My platforms for the county attorney's office include upholding environmental laws and aggressively prosecuting illegal dumping, educating our community about the many facets of the laws tasked to the county attorney's office through community workshops, and collaborating and strengthening relationships with law enforcement at all levels to address the rising trends in juvenile and border crimes. And now, I'd like to introduce Cristina Sanchez. As mentioned, she is an assistant county attorney and is also a member of the El Paso Community College Board of Trustees. And Cristina, if elected as El Paso County Attorney, what's your major goals? And in the best interest of time, please try to limit the responses to about 30 to 40 seconds.
Yes, so El Paso County will be having 3 new elected officials this coming year. We have a new district attorney, a new county attorney, and a new sheriff. For me, it's important to ensure that there's continuity, that there's historic knowledge, and that there's somebody that was with the relevant experience to take on the job. I believe for those reasons, I'm the best qualified individual to serve in that capacity. And also some of my goals are to ensure that there is continuity and maintaining that trust with our county elected officials who rely on our advice as we go into this next term.
And Cristina, as you know, the county attorney's office has a budget that's nearly $12 million with around 90 employees. So if you can, please talk about the experience you bring to be able to head up this department and what's prepared you for this.
Yes, so currently I serve as the senior division chief for our county commissioners, court and county administrations unit, as well as our public works unit. I supervise a whole team of lawyers to include 9 lawyers and support staff. I have to ensure, as the individual in charge of that, to make sure that we have the relevant budget, that we have the relevant training to take on the tasks that our clients expect of us. I've sat in those conversations where the county commissioners have been debating on those county budgets, as well as in internal meetings with the county attorney's office. And finally, my experience with the with the community college has also given me a firsthand experience in managing budgets and setting policies for a governmental entity.
Appreciate it. And quickly, as mentioned, Sergio Saldivar, he couldn't make it to this forum, but he did issue this statement with respect to his vision of making the county attorney's office more visible here in El Paso. Quote, I will continue to provide and support the role of legal advisor to the many county entities which rely on the county attorney's office for advice. I will also make it a point to work in concert with our counterparts at the district attorney's office to do what is better for the El Paso community. In my opinion, the county attorney's office is silent. I will work to make sure that office becomes more visible in our community and make it an essential part of the El Paso leadership, a role it deserves. And we have time for one more question here. Cristina, as you know, the county attorney's office is responsible for issuing protective orders. Is there anything you would do differently than what you've seen in your role as an assistant county attorney thus far?
Well, first of all, I think that's a very important function. We are in the midst of Teen Violence Dating Month right now, and based on some comments that my opponent has made with regards to how he approach our protective order unit, where he automatically assumes that individuals who come in to apply for a protective order are not telling the truth. I would approach that differently, and quite frankly, it has led me to understand that there is still a lack of understanding by members of our own community of what this means. For me, one of the main goals that I would have would be to create a one-stop shop for individuals who come in seeking a protective order so that they can find other services in addition to seeking that particular protective order, so to ensure that they are contributing members to our community. That's of first and foremost importance with this office. Very important issue.
Thank you. And maybe one of the most important issues when we're talking about the Office of County Attorney. Now, we could go on and on with a number of questions. Unfortunately, we're out of time right now. But once again, we'd like to thank Cristina Sanchez for making it here as the race for the El Paso County Attorney continues. And also thank you to Sergio Saldivar for providing us with some statements with respect to his campaign goals. And don't forget, Election Day is on Tuesday. You can vote at any polling location during both early voting and on Election Day. This is a primary election, so you will be asked if you want to take part in the Republican or Democratic primary, and you can find sample ballots and voting locations on epcountyvotes.com. On behalf of Stephanie Valle, my co-anchor for this week's Sunday Extra, thanks for joining us once again on ABC-7 Extra. I'm Paul Cicala. Have a positive, productive week filled with lots of joy, and don't forget to get on out there and vote.